Hi, my name is Lauren, and today we're going to do some fun things in Tableau, play with a data set, make some visualizations, and also talk about how to make animations in Tableau. So let's get started. I'm going to put the link to the data set that we're going to use in the description, and I'm also going to put a link to the source of this data in the description. Once you're in Tableau and you upload the data set that's linked to in the description, this is what you'll see. And this is data on new house sales in the United States over a period of about 20 years. And there's a lot of information, there are a lot of tables in this data set. So what we're going to do is choose this top one and this Mon sale group. I'm going to drag this over into the middle, and this will now show up in Tableau. But if we look at the table that's showing up, the columns aren't named very helpfully. It's a little bit hard to tell what's going on. And so what I'm going to do on the left, I'm going to check Use Data Interpreter in Tableau, and that will clean things up a little bit. Now it's a bit more clear what this table is showing us. So this is telling us in each of these months what the number of houses sold in the United States was in several different price ranges. So this is what this data shows. So now we can go ahead and make some visualizations with this data. So if I go over to sheet 1, we can start playing with this. So let's say I want to look at houses that were maybe in this price range from $150,000 up to less than $200,000. And maybe I want to see how many houses sold in that price range as time went on during this time period. So what I can do is I can drag this price range into rows, and that will add up the number of homes sold in that price range. But I want to break this down by year. So I'm going to take period and drag it into columns. And this gives us a nice picture of how this number of homes in that price range changed over this time period. So this is great. And what we might want to do is animate this. So maybe you want to see this move as time goes on. So what I can do is I can go back up to period, and I'm going to drag this into pages in Tableau. And now over on the right, we have something controlling our little animation. So if I hit play, we'll have these dots that move as time goes on that kind of track out the number of homes in this price range. So that's great. But it would be nice if I could kind of keep track of the history and not have to remember what happened previously as I'm noticing how this dot moves. So on the right, I'm going to check Show History, and I'm going to click on the drop-down menu, and it says Marks to Show History For. I want to choose All, and I would like to choose Show Trails instead of Marks. But at the moment, that's grayed out. So if I go over to the left, under marks, it's set to automatic, but I want to change it to circle. Now, once this is changed to circle, I can go back over to the right and choose Show History again, and now I should be able to select Trails. So now if we back up to 2002, now we can hit play, and the history of our little chart will show up as we animate this, which is great. So we just created an animation that shows the number of homes in this price range over this period of approximately 20 years. And if we were doing this to save or to show to someone, we would like to make sure everything's labeled the way we want. We have titles where we want, but I'm going to leave it like this for now. Now, let's say we want to look at different price ranges. So maybe I want to see the number of homes sold in maybe all of the different price ranges. There are a lot of different ways we can do this. We could separately create this same sort of chart for each of the different price ranges, but just to show you how you might put several things on one chart, I'm going to go down to the bottom and add a new worksheet. And I want to do the same kind of thing. I'm going to put period in columns, but now I'm going to put these measure values. I want all of my measure values to be included in my chart. This is not what I want though. So I'm going to go over on the right. I'm going to remove some of these. So this count of Monsale group, I want to remove that. And I also want to remove the sum of total. I don't want that in there. I just want all of these different price ranges. So here we have lots of spaghetti looking things. This is very busy. So again, this might not be exactly what we want to do, but let's talk about how we would create something like this. So right now it's very hard to see what is what. We would have to scroll over things to see what price ranges each of these little line charts is corresponding to, which isn't ideal. And so what I want to do is maybe color these differently based on the group that they're in. So I'm going to take measure names and I'm going to drop this on top of color. There we go. Now these different price ranges are colored differently. And you could mess with these colors because maybe it's a little bit hard to see with these colors, for example, the difference between orange and red, but hopefully this gives you an idea of how you would create something like this. And over on the right, we have this legend that shows us which color corresponds to what range. So that's great. If we wanted to animate this, we would do the same thing that we did before, and we could take a period and drop it over into pages. And we would want to change our marks to circle and go over on the right and choose show history, choose all, and choose trails. And then we could hit play and this would animate what's happening for all of these different price ranges over time. So this is great. But while this is going, let's say that I want to be able to see maybe in a given month, or maybe I want to look over time and see what percentage of homes sold were in each of these different price ranges. So to do that, we can go back to our data source, and one of these tables actually includes percentages so that we wouldn't have to calculate these from scratch. So what I could do is go over to this Monsale group percent, and I'm going to choose this and drag it over to the right, and I'm going to relate it to my existing table. But I have to tell Tableau how these are related. So what I can do is choose period in my existing table and set that equal to period in my new table. That would be one way to do it. Now I can create a new worksheet, and I'm going to go ahead and let's say I want to make a bar chart for the percent of homes sold in each of these price ranges. So I'm going to put measure values as the rows here and the measure names as the columns. And again, I don't want all of these things as columns. I only want the price ranges. So what I'm going to do, if I go up to filters on measure names, I can say show filter, and maybe instead I'll choose edit filter. That might be an easier way to see this. If I choose edit filter, I don't want all of these things chosen. So I don't want the values of the numbers of homes in each of these price ranges. I just want the percents, and I don't want these counts and totals included either. So I just want the percents in each of these price ranges. So I'll hit OK. But if we look at this, these heights here, these aren't percents. So if I look at my data source, this table shows for each month, it's showing the percent of homes sold in each of these categories that month. So what Tableau is doing right here is in each of these categories, it's adding up all of those percents over all of the months, and so it will no longer be a percentage. So what we can do is, if I go over to period, I'm going to take period and take it up to pages. And this still isn't showing percentages. Right now, it's broken down by years. I don't want years showing. Our table is giving information about percentages each month. So if I click on the drop-down menu, I want to choose month so that it will show the month and the year. There we go. So this is telling us in January of 2002, this is saying that the percentage of homes in the range from 150,000 up to less than 200,000 was 26% of the homes sold that month were in that category. So this is great. And here you might notice these aren't arranged in the best way. Over on the far right, we have the under 150,000 category. And so we probably want to move that all the way over to the left. If I click on it and drag, so that things are in order of the price ranges that make sense. So this is great. And now if you wanted to, you could go down to the right and choose all to animate this over time and see in each month over this about 20-year period, in each month, you could play this to see how this percentage of homes in each of these price ranges is changing over time. So hopefully this was helpful to see how to do some of these things in Tableau. Have fun making visualizations and making animations in Tableau.